I'm Oluwafemi Adewumi. Culturally, I have many names. So if I list all my names that I can remember, I'm Oluwafemi Ayodeji Adepoju Okunlola Omaniyi Adisa Aran. I was born into the family of Deacon Zachariah Adewumi and Deaconess Elizabeth Adewumi on 18th of May 1963. I grew up in a family of 6. I have a senior sister, Mary Aderonke Adeshina. I happen to be the second born, the first son. My immediate junior brother, Dr. Adebayo Adewumi, the one after him, Remi Adewumi, we call him Deacon. The one after him is Oluwashola Adewumi. He's a pharmacist by profession. And our last born, the baby of the family, Adebola Abebi Adewumi. She's married to a banker, Soji Adeyeye. Because of the nature of the work of my parents, both my dad and mom were teachers. And that time, they may transfer you from one place to the other. So for primary school, I attended 2 schools. That's Baptist Day School, Okeodo Iwo. And when my parents were transferred to Ikirun, I did my primaries 1 to 3 in Baptist Day School, Okeodo Iwo. Then I did primaries 4 to 6 at Nawar Uden Primary School, Ikirun. For secondary school, I started at Akirun Grammar School, Ikirun. I just spent 1 term before my dad and mom were transferred back to Iwo. So I completed my, well, let me say, even from second term, from 1 till I completed my secondary school, I was at Iwo Grammar School, Iwo. That's where I graduated from that school in 1979. From there, I went to Olivet Baptist High School, Oyo, for my higher school certificate education, where I finished in 1981. At Olivet, one of the Sundays, we played inter-room competition. I was the last man of defense. They wanted to score, I didn't want them to score. I jumped with my whole power. Though I saved the ball, but I fell down. And on falling down, I fell on my hand. I broke my hand. And they had to rush me to the hospital, Baptist General Hospital, Oyo. I was at Olivet Baptist High School, Oyo then. And my mom's cousin, Baba Durowoju, was there for me. He took care of me, and until I went home for Christmas, that's when my parents even knew I had a fracture. A cast was put on my hand. But silliness of students, because you look at my hand, compare this hand with this hand, you see that this hand is not like this. I caused it. The bone has not healed. But before we left school, my classmates were saying, Femi, you will enter New Year with cast. I said, me? I will not enter New Year with cast. How will you do it? They've told you won't remove this thing until February. I said, it's not me. My New Year, I won't enter with cast. You know what I did in my childish foolishness. On the night of 31st, in my room, I caught the something. I caught the POP. I removed it. so that I will sleep without the cast and enter the new year without the cast. And by the time I woke up with serious pain. I put the thing back. I covered it. My parents didn't know. So when I got back to Oyo, I went back to General Hospital. The doctor said, no, I won't do anything for you. You did this yourself. Leave it like that. And that's how my hand did not heal back to normal position. So you see, stupidity of children. And up till now, if you look at both hands, you see this. So it's part of it. After that, I went to Oluwafemi University, that's Ile-Ife, where I was admitted to study botany. I spent a year there before I relocated to University of Ibadan. Sat for JAMB again and gained admission to study veterinary medicine. I think young ones can learn from this experience. Me, I have one mind. Once we agree this is what we want to do, me, I believe that's it. Though I grew up in Yoruba land, but my mind was like the mind of the Hausa people. Once we agree this is what we want to do, that's it. I remember one time, because when we started, they said we are going to start on-course system. No, it's almighty, like they do in medical school. It's after the second year that you write the major exam. Suddenly, they just came, then just came to address us that in 2 months' time from now, you are going to write your first exam. We've changed the system. It will now be course system. So it's not what they call almighty, as students call it again. By the time the dean went out, we met and we agreed that no, none of us will write that exam. We will not agree. I did not know that my classmates have started preparing for the exam. Me, I realized based on what we've all said. It's my cousin, because we were pretty close, we stayed together throughout our time in UI. That called me and said, Femi, people are reading secretly for this exam. I said, which exam? Exam that people have said we are not going to do. He said, Femi, I tell you, people are reading secretly. I said, it's not possible. We've agreed in class, we won't write it. He said, okay. When it's 9 o'clock, follow me. I will take you to where they heard that they are reading. By 9 o'clock, I followed my course. We entered the class. I saw almost all my classmates reading. I said, And by that time, it was 1 week to that exam that they said we are going to do. That all of us are saying we won't write. I met them, I said, you these people. So, you are already preparing for the exam that we said we are not going to do. I started asking those who are pretty close to me one by one, why are you doing this? It's because I saw them reading that made who I came. By that time, it was almost late for me. There were 2 papers. I just decided I have a week. I just concentrated on one of the papers. Made up my mind, I will recite the other paper because there is no way I will read everything. And my calculation worked well. I passed the first paper, I had to recite the second paper. And eventually I made the second paper. So we need to learn from that. When I got to part 3 in the university, that's the time the major partner of Nigerian Baptist Convention, the International Missions Board of Southern American Baptist Convention, decided on starting a human needs ministry among the nomadic Fulani people in northern Nigeria. They believe they can use veterinary medicine and agriculture to catch their attention, so that they will use that to make friends with them and look for ways to share the gospel with them. So they met at their strategy meeting in Miango, Plateau State, near Jos. At that meeting, Mama and Marum of blessed memory was there. Mama Marum taught my dad at Baptist College Iwo. Then Baptist College Iwo is where I was a church boy for many years. In fact, I was the choir director of the church. Mama was the music director, overall music director. So she's like a grandmother to me. She knew me from head to toe. So she recommended and suggested my name, because in the plan, they were planning that in 3 years' time they want to start this program. And that will be the time I will graduate as a veterinary student. They want a veterinary fresh graduate to help them to start the program, work together with one of their white missionaries who are agricultural experts. So that's how I got into the ministry. The impression I had is I will just go and help them to start the ministry. Then I can come back home. So my going to the north was not to become a missionary, left to me. We prayed about it, and I agreed that I will be part of it. So the missionary was set in process that when I graduate, I will go and do my youth service in Jos. My going to the north, then I had no knowledge of Hausa language, I had no knowledge of Fulani language. It's only Yoruba and English. So my first day on the field, the Fulani man, we worked together. As we're going, he couldn't communicate with me in English or Yoruba or Hausa. I couldn't communicate with him too in the language he can understand. So we started talking to each other using sign languages. But there's one thing I saw. He knew I love him. And that's why I followed him to the bush to treat his animals. So we worked in Jos for almost 10 years. I got married to my dear wife in 1996 at the First Baptist Church, Jos, though both of us were members of Calvary Baptist Church, Jos. Reverend Wilson discipled us alongside many others. Both of us were together in the choir. One of the years I was the choir director, she was my assistant, but even that time we didn't know we were meant for each other. So God led us to one another. The relationship started, and we got married in 1996. God has blessed us with blessed and understanding children too. Though because of the place where we work, my wife had to homeschool them. She homeschooled all her children through their primary school years. All her children, Serabet, Oluwatosin, Adeola, Adewumi, Samuel Babafemi, Adewumi, Solomon Temiloluwa, Adewumi. All of them are part of our ministry with God. Anywhere we go, they're going with us. We work together in the ministry work. In fact, they loved it, they enjoyed it, they saw themselves as missionaries. In fact, for a long time, they believed they were from Gombe State, Biliri. So when people come and ask them where is their hometown, they say they are from Biliri, Gombe State. So that's it. When we first came here, there were challenges of snakes. In fact, every day we killed snakes here, carpet vipers. And it's one of the most common snakes and most dangerous snakes here. But throughout the time we were here, God protected us. In fact, one of the days, our little son then, Solomon, he wasn't up to 3 years old, then picked a carpet viper up. I was about going to a Fulani camp. I've entered the vehicle together with Pastor Adewumi. When I asked Sarah and Samuel in their schoolroom, because one of the hut is used as their schoolroom, that hut there. So they just say, just hearing, drop it, leave it. Eventually, but I didn't know until they said, snake. We just stopped the vehicle, we came down. So immediately Pastor and I entered, we saw the snake raising up his head. We killed the snake. Then after killing the snake, we asked him, did he bite you? He said no. What happened? Why were you playing with snake? So we heard Solomon was picking it up. As he picked the snake up, the brother and the sister came around, they saw he's playing with a snake. That's why they said, drop it. But by the time they told him the third time he didn't drop it, they had to say, it's a snake. When he heard it's a snake, he dropped it. Then he moved back. That's the time we came in. We asked him, why were you playing with a snake? He said, he did not know a snake can be so beautiful. God saved him.
I'm Eunice Temilola Abosedi Adewumi, and together we have been working together as a family on the field. I know that for a long time we would always go to places together, and one of the, I think, shocking things for the children was as they grew up, we had to start doing things apart, and they had to learn to do that because growing up they knew us to be together all the time. So we always went to places with them. These children were homeschooled. When we moved to Gombe, Sarah Beth was just about 10 months, and she was less than a year when we moved to Gombe from Jos, and she didn't really know much of any other place than Gombe, although we frequented Jos, being our home, being where my parents were also, and being where we had all grown up. So it was easy for us to go back to Jos. But when our ministry point moved to Gombe, we went with the children and we went everywhere. And we looked around us because Gombe State had just started, was just created as a new state then. There were so many things they did not have, and one of them was this educational system that was not yet very established. So we decided that we were going to homeschool these children, and that formed a very, very, well, I say a big bulk of what I was doing back then. Whenever my husband was home, he helped in ways that he could to join hands so that we could teach the children at home. Tried to make us to see that this is the passion that God has given to him to love the Fulanis, and he gave that passion, passed it on to me, and now we have it with the children. So Fulani life is his life, is a passion that I've come to know him with, and we have imbibed it all together. So as he celebrates his 60th birthday, I pray that God himself will bless him. God has blessed him. I must say this. God has tremendously blessed him. But I don't know. When I say bless him, it transcends the physical. But I just ask that God himself will do beyond human thinking in his life. He desires to see the Fulani nation coming to know the Lord. Not just one, not two. We have a lot of families of Fulanis that we are tied to one way or the other. And our heart's desire is that they come to know the Lord. And I know that at this period, that is one thing that my husband would really want to see happen, that the Fulani nation come to know the Lord. And I pray that God himself will do this in his life, that God will bless him with good health, long life. He will bless him with the blessings of heaven, that all that we're doing on earth will not end here, but that God himself would, and most of all, that at the end of your life, you will reign with Christ in eternity. Happy birthday, darling.
My name is Adewumi. I'm Reverend Dr. Femi Adewumi's firstborn daughter, his only daughter for that matter. A lot of people say that that the reason I'm the only female child he has is because he named me two very powerful women's names. I don't know about that, but it has been a wonderful experience being Reverend Dr. Femi Adewumi's first child. It has opened my mind to a lot of responsibility. He taught me about responsibility. I know my parents moved to Gombe State when I was still a baby, so growing up on the mission field was quite an experience. I grew up being homeschooled. I didn't go to nursery school, I didn't go to primary school. Both my parents taught me at home. And while he was mostly on the mission field, you know, treating the Fulani's animals and everything, every opportunity he had to be with us, he used it as a teaching experience, whether it was to teach us about animals or about nature or about music or even about God. It's like he was very invested in our growth as children and as budding Christians, as children of God. So many more years of joy. I know, you know, children always say that I will buy you house, I'll buy you car. Anyone that my money can carry in the coming years, that's the one that you will get. So I want to say happy birthday, happy 60th birthday. You will celebrate 70, you celebrate 80, you will see your grandchildren and great-grandchildren, and you will continue to smile anytime that you hear from me. I think that's just my message to you. Love you.
Good day, everyone. I'm sure a lot of you know me already. I'm Adewumi Samuel, the second born and first son of Reverend Dr. Femi Adewumi as missionaries to the Fulanis, and then we were just little kids then, so it was very interesting. Of course it's hard to be a preacher's kid. A lot of people know that, but we tried as much as possible to conduct ourselves in a good manner. That's myself and my siblings. So it was fun growing up. My dad was always going to Fulani camps early in the morning. He probably would have taken off to go to one Fulani camp or the other to treat their animals because he's a vet doctor. So my dad loves animals so much. But anytime he had chance, when he came back, when he was opportune, when he came back, we played football together in the house. And it was so fun. We had some dogs. My dad loves dogs, so we had some dogs that we used to keep, and we tried as much as possible to keep them well. My dad bought me a bicycle then that I learned. I always used to ride around with it in the compound. Yeah, I remember a time out of the three of us, the siblings, and probably some of my cousins, I've been I won't say the black sheep, but let's just say black sheep for now. So I've been quite stubborn, yeah, something like that. So there's this belt that Daddy used to have in the house. He used to have this belt, this particular belt. Like I know, like it's one of, I don't know if it was one of his best belts in, yeah, like back in the day, but he had it hung in the room specifically for me, and I always knew the belts. In fact, I think there was a time I tried to hide it. I can't really remember, when I was small, because I was very notorious, very, very notorious. But Christ has changed me now. I'm trying to change. Okay, so there's this one experience that every time I remember, it makes me smile, because he probably doesn't know. My dad probably doesn't know about this. So it's not only my dad that keeps this kind of canes. Now, my mom had this fan belt in the kitchen, because as I said, I was very notorious. So her own was fan belt. So I got her angry this morning. Of course, as I said earlier, my dad normally goes out to Fulani camps early in the morning. So, and my mom got angry with me. I can't remember what I did. I can't remember what I said. So I ran out of the kitchen, the small kitchen we had. I ran into the bedroom. I picked a bag, put a few clothes inside. To me, I was fed up. I didn't know where I was running to, but I just knew that in my mind I felt like I can't stay in this house again. I'm done, and I wanted to go. Me that I don't have anywhere to go to. I was done. So I carried the bag and I started walking to the gates. Now I got to the gates. I opened the door. Now my dad has a distinctive way he horns, like the horn of a car. He has a special way. For those that know him closely, he presses the horn 3 times. In fact, the thing has gotten into me now. Anytime I'm driving, I press the horn 3 times as well. But he has a distinctive way he presses the horn. He presses it 3 times. Actually, it came about the name of one of my aunties, Yetunde. So 1 press for each, Yetunde. So so that's how the horn came out about. So I opened the door to start my pilgrimage journey of where I didn't know where I was going to, and I just heard the horn, ta ta ta, and then I was like, oh my goodness, eh? Because the thing is, if you go out with bag, if I go out with the bag and he sees me, and I will say I'm running away, where am I running to? Of course, I'll come home and receive more of the cane. So I just stayed by the door, and when he came, I opened the gate for him. I hid the bag, and then I took it back inside after. It was a nice experience. Very funny story as well. Thank you. I love my dad so much. My name is Solomon Adewumi. I'm the last born of Reverend Dr. Femi Adewumi. Well, he has been there for me like forever. We have so many memories together. I remember when I was little. I remember one time I fell sick, and then he went to go and fry egg for me. He said that he wanted me to taste his cooking instead of mommy. When I was little, he went to go and fry egg for me, he catered for me, he cared for me when I was sick. I can never forget that time. I think after that time I wanted to fall sick more so that he would be taking care of me because it felt really nice all the time when he would take care of me, come sit down beside me in the bed. He's so caring all the time. He's always trying to make sure that we're alright. I love him. I want him to know that I love him, and I know he loves me, but I want him to know I love him more. And that I love all the encouragement he gives me, all the support he gives me. I can't thank him enough for all that he has done for me, but I pray that God will bless him in more ways than I could possibly imagine. God bless you, Daddy. I love you.